All right, so this is a suggestion via a channel member. Let's jump into it.
In our national lead, the FBI and Department of Homeland Security are deepening their investigations into alleged fraud involving federal funds in Minnesota. Earlier today, DHS posted several videos on social media of investigators in Minneapolis inspecting what they say are suspected fraud sites, which include daycare centers. CNN law enforcement correspondent Whitney Wild is tracking this development for us. And Whitney, what prompted the Trump administration to escalate these investigations?
Well, it does seem to be in response to this viral video. Right now, what the FBI is saying, it is surging resources into Minnesota. This is just the latest chapter of this sprawling fraud investigation that began in 2022 and has led to more than 75 arrests. Many people are among the Somali community in Minnesota. The FBI Director Kash Patel, again, tweeting today, and it really seemed to be a reaction to this viral video by a YouTube personality named Nick Shirley, which now has more than 115 million views on X, and that number continues to grow. In the video, Shirley says that he's uncovering more fraudulent businesses in the Somali community. That 42-minute video was retweeted by Vice President J.D. Vance and Elon Musk. Director Patel said the FBI has been all over these cases, posting this on X, even before the public conversation escalated on.
For a second, I forgot this was CNN. Hold on, bro. Hold the phone here, buddy. Listen, if CNN has decided to basically come out and say, hold on, guys, listen, something absolutely crazy is happening. Like in the context of this type of thing, referring to like the migrant crisis and things like that, guys, if they're coming out and saying it, then this is absolutely huge news.
Online, the FBI had surged personnel and investigative resources to Minnesota to dismantle large-scale fraud schemes exploiting federal programs. In touting the arrests, Patel said that the FBI believes this is just the tip of a very large iceberg.
It goes deeper,
In
obviously.
several posts Monday, the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem tweeted that HSI agents are on the ground conducting a massive investigation into these suspected fraud sites, saying this: DHS is on the ground in Minneapolis, going door to door at suspected fraud sites, saying that the American people deserve answers on how their taxpayer money is being used and arrests when abuse is found. These fraud cases, Phil, have become a major political flashpoint for Republicans, and this has been going on for years. A state audit earlier this year, again, this was just one chapter in this story, a state audit earlier this year found that funds meant for frontline workers in Minneapolis were being scammed away, and Republicans and the administration have begun to target Somali migrants in that state. Today, in a statement to CNN, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz's press office said the governor has worked for years to crack down on fraud and asked the state legislature for more authority to take aggressive action. He has strengthened oversight, including launching investigations into these specific facilities, one of which was already closed. He has hired an outside law firm to audit payments to high-risk programs. He's also shut down the Housing Stabilization Services Program entirely and announced a new statewide program integrity director and supported criminal prosecutions. Phil, this is the latest chapter. We have no indication this story is anywhere close to over. Attorney General Pam Bondi also tweeting that basically saying that this YouTuber, Nick Shirley, showed Americans how sprawling these cases are and that her office is continuing to work on them to try to root out as much fraud as they possibly can, Phil.
Yeah, certainly seems like a lot more to come.
I'm gonna be honest, I'm proud of Nick. I'm super proud of him because like generally like the content that he definitely generally creates is like super polarizing almost always, right? But he never really has transcended the realm of like common typical content creator to like newsworthy type of entities. So I'm proud of him for this one here, guys. I'm super proud.
I'm Whitney Wild, great reporting. Thanks so much.
This morning, the FBI and Homeland Security say they are surging resources to Minnesota to investigate claims of widespread fraud in the state. The federal crackdown comes just days after a YouTube creator posted a viral video boosted by Vice President J.D. Vance accusing Somali-run child care centers of taking money without actually caring for children. But critics say these
they're not doing
accusations are being
anything?
made
They're
without
just
any actual
taking
proof
money.
and call it a troubling continuation of the Trump administration's targeting of Minnesota's Somali community, who he publicly called garbage. CNN's Holmes Lebrand joins us now with more on this. Holmes, tell us a little bit more about what has been driving this investigation.
Yeah, so this is a really interesting investigation. It's actually pretty old. A lot of this began
under President Joe Biden when they were investigating fraud claims related to COVID relief. So when we talk about a lot of this giant kind of fraud scheme that Director of the FBI Kash Patel also tweeted about, saying that there were 78 indictments so far, 57 convictions, as well as this dismantling of a $250 million fraud scheme. That is an older case than what we're now talking about with this new viral video. So this new viral video is trying to take past claims and kind of make these new claims. These new claims have not been investigated. In fact, Tiki Brown, the commissioner of the Minnesota Department of Children, said that these centers have been visited in the past 6 months and that none of those unannounced visits have turned out any fraud, but they are investigating these locations. But again, this is a kind of this past fraud that's still being investigated. In fact, prosecutors are now telling reporters that they're investigating new suspicious billing practices for 14 Medicare-funded programs in the state. So this is an ongoing investigation. It is clearly a lot of fraud that takes place, but that's very different than going door to door and making these accusations against specific facilities like these daycare centers that have not yet been backed up by officials.
Yeah, guys, I think definitely most of the fraud, I think in general, kind of like within all of the states, are going to definitely be found within healthcare almost exclusively. All right, I'm going to be honest here. I think that's just kind of what's happening here. But now, childcare also definitely feels like it could be a gigantic money pit, bro. Like a gigantic money pit, completely.
Holmes Librarian, thank you so much for that. We spent a lot of time in court watching court sessions together over these many years. Thank you. I do appreciate seeing you now, and have a wonderful new year. Joining us now, CNN political analyst Jackie Kucinich and senior contributor at Axios, Margaret Talev. Thank you both for being here. Let's start with what's happening in Minnesota. Does this YouTuber's viral video simply kind of give the Trump administration another reason or cover for its crackdown against Somalis, whom Trump did call garbage, who said he wanted out of the country? I will start with you, Margaret.
Well, it certainly is giving fuel to this argument, and I think it does demonstrate the sort of increasing power of the sort of creator, news adjacent creators in this space. We're seeing it all over the country, whether it's people who claim political neutrality or are aligned with one side or the other. But I think it is also a big political problem for Tim Walz. I mean, he's running for what would become a historic third four-year term in Minnesota. There's a lot of Republican interest in taking him on, including from figures like Mike Lindell. You can be sure if Tim Walz was the U.S. vice president right now at this moment, that this would be like one of the first, scandals.
They'd be cooking him.
So there are a lot of moving parts here. But I think for President Trump and the Trump administration, this effort to use this to make broader arguments about scaling back immigration, scaling back refugee status, does run up against this other issue of does he go too far when he makes those points? And in a state like Minnesota, which has been a blue state for quite some time, that's the big question. Will he take it too far? What's the sort of maximal pressure to put on Walz without jumping the shark?
Yeah, Jackie, I do want to talk to you a little bit more about Walz.
It's still going to be a blue state.
There was a huge fraud case that was decided in a federal court where a jury convicted the leader and associate of a now defunct nonprofit. Prosecutors at the time in 2019 called it the nation's largest ever case of pandemic aid fraud. That case just ending in 2025. You know, the head of that nonprofit is not Somali, but her associate was. I mean, how much damage has all of this done to Governor Tim Walz's prospects of potential higher office? Obviously, he is running again for governor, so that's one thing. But then if you look at the national picture as 2028 comes rolling around, what do you make of all this?
So I think you're right with the particularly with the first point there. This is about his reelection campaign right now in 2026, and you know that Minnesota Republicans have taken aim. They've called on him to resign for some of these scandals at this point. Now, the governor's office
That was a
has said
guarantee,
they
though.
have made reforms,
Super
but
guarantee.
ultimately the voters are going to decide if that's enough. And Margaret's absolutely right. This is a blue state, but it's a governor's office that Republicans absolutely are targeting.
Okay, guys. Okay. Listen, understand what happens immediately whenever you decide that it's going to be like a really good idea to run for president in some way. First of all, you're going to get cooked by the other side like 100% of the time. Understand this here. And if you think that you're going to be able to kind of leave the running of presidential office and like unscathed, you're crazy. All right. So if you're going to run for president, make sure like everything is perfect in your background. Okay. So now if your state is basically suffering from like record amounts of like massive amounts of fraud, what did you think was going to happen, bro? Okay. This exact thing. Number one here. Now, is Minnesota now out of nowhere going to start turning completely over to the right? No, they're not going to do that because they're lefties, right? And because of that, there's no way that they're ever going to look at anything else that's not that. Now, is there a small minority of Republicans that could potentially give him some trouble? Let's say, yes, there will be, there is, but it's not enough. It's not going to be enough to kind of get him out because they love him, right? Like he soothes their emotions, if that makes any sense, guys. But there definitely seems to be a lot, like unnecessary amount of fraud, specifically in Minnesota. But how much of that is rooted in the fact that again, Tim Walz is the governor, if that makes any sense here. Because I'm almost positive if you start looking into like all of the states around, like each one of the states, we could find like similar things kind of moving within it. Only difference is that their governor did not run with Kamala Harris for president. Now, one thing here that's moderately, not even moderately, um, the idea of calling all Somalians garbage is crazy, right? But again, I just attribute that to you guys wanted a New Yorker, in the presidency. So what did you expect? He's going to say crazy things out of his mouth. Um, so understand that that's kind of how I take that. But again, most people probably wouldn't, right? So people have different, I don't know, methodologies on how they believe at least the words that are coming out of people's mouths at least. Um, do I think that he believes truthfully that every single person of Somalian descent is garbage? No, I think he's just generalizing and overgeneralizing in a way that's a little bit wild. But it doesn't really like detract from um, the point at hand here, though. I would say here. Guys, do you want to watch movies with me? I never actually thought to like promote it over here, guys. But if you guys do want to watch it, guys, we have hundreds of movies, and I mean hundreds of movies that we've reacted to. You guys can come watch them with me if you want to, along with many TV shows. Currently, we're working on the show Dexter, along with Vikings, and we have a lot of series that are already completed. But if you guys do want to watch it with me, the link is in the description. Everything's available at the second tier. But of course, if that's not your thing, guys, don't worry. Right? Listen, like and subscribe.